Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Ross, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Arkansas. Today we are announcing the results of Operation Enforce and Remove, an operation over the past 3 weeks, which is the largest collaborative law enforcement effort to enforce immigration laws in Arkansas history. A statewide operation that resulted in the arrest of 219 illegal aliens who unlawfully entered the United States, as well as an additional 253 individuals charged with various crimes to include sexual assault against a minor, aggravated assault, drug distribution, and various firearm offenses. Also, the seizure of nearly 15,000 pounds of illegal drugs worth millions of dollars to include fentanyl pills, fentanyl powder, methamphetamine, cocaine, marijuana, and 43 guns. This arrest operation involved every federal law enforcement agency operating in Arkansas, as well as the Arkansas State Police and the state's 19 state drug task force offices. These 219 aliens who had illegally entered the United States are from the following 23 countries: India, Laos, Vietnam, Mauritania, Serbia, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Nigeria, Belize, Venezuela, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Mexico, and the Marshall Islands. On January 21st, the Department of Justice issued a memo to all department components to include all 94 U.S. Attorney's offices, the DEA, the FBI, ATF, and the U.S. Marshals, instructing each agency to partner with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to focus our resources and attention to immigration-related investigations and prosecutions at the federal, state, and local level. The memo outlined policy changes in response to the President's Day 1 executive orders and provided guidance critical to the Department's mission to combat 3 of the most serious threats facing the American people. First, cartels and other transnational criminal organizations which have created unsafe borders and huge flows of illegal immigration in violation of United States law. Second, brutal and intolerable violent crime by members of these organizations and illegal aliens. And third, the fentanyl crisis and opioid epidemic that are poisoning our communities and have inflicted an unprecedented toll of addiction, suffering, and death. Because the Justice Department must work to eradicate these threats, the U.S. Attorney's offices in Arkansas, along with each of our federal law enforcement partners, will continue to prioritize working with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to aggressively enforce the immigration and violent crime laws enacted by Congress. When these efforts are combined with our partnerships with our outstanding state and local law enforcement officials, we are confident that this first operation will lead to additional successful operations in the days ahead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clay Folks. I'm currently serving as the United States Attorney in the Western District of Arkansas. At the U.S. Attorney's Office in Western Arkansas, we remain steadfast in our commitment to pursue our goal of maintaining Western District of Arkansas and making it a better and a safer place for the citizens of Western Arkansas. As a result of that, I'm proud to stand here today with our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners to make this announcement about a renewed focus and a renewed intensity in pursuing illegal immigration offenses throughout the state of Arkansas and also in the Western District of Arkansas, which happens to be a direct reflection of our goal of trying to make Western Arkansas a better and a safer place for our citizens. And at the U.S. Attorney's Office, we intend to use every single tool in our federal law enforcement toolbox to pursue those individuals who would illegally cross the border into the United States and bring their associated criminal conduct into the Western District of Arkansas. We intend to refocus our efforts on these immigration enforcement cases and to pursue each and every individual who would bring that criminal conduct to the Western District of Arkansas. And in so doing, we hope to take steps towards achieving our ultimate goal of making Western Arkansas a better and a safer place for our citizens. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am U.S. and Customs Enforcement Assistant Field Office Director Larry Adams. I would first like to thank the United States Attorneys, Jonathan Ross and Clay Folks, their immeasurable support to our ICE team, as we would not be successful without you all. I would also like to thank all of our federal, state, and local partners standing here behind me for the work that you do every single day. We are here today to discuss the significant progress Arkansas has made in immigration enforcement through a comprehensive, collaborative, and whole-of-government approach. On January 22nd, the Acting Secretary of Homeland Security signed into effect a memo granting the Department of Justice and law enforcement agencies within the Department of Justice the authority to investigate, locate, and apprehend aliens using Title 8, Chapter 12 of the U.S. Code. Following this, the U.S. attorneys from the Eastern and Western Districts of Arkansas, alongside leadership from ICE, FBI, DEA, ATF, the U.S. Marshal Service, began to work together on one shared mission: to apprehend removable, illegal, criminal aliens who jeopardize public safety. This enables our team an effective immigration-focused operation, leveraging each other's agencies' specialized expertise and capabilities. On February 11th, our DOJ partners, the Arkansas State Police, the Arkansas Judicial Drug Task Force, worked alongside in a 2-week operation that specifically targeted removable aliens who pose a threat to public safety. In closing, I want to send a clear message. We will continue to use every tool, available resource to identify, locate, and apprehend those criminal aliens that pose a threat to public safety. Our enforcement efforts are unwavering, and our dedication to protecting our community remains stronger than ever. Thank you.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Ross, U.S. Attorney Folks, and Director Adams. At this time, we'll open up the floor for questions.
I need to get a little bit of clarification. You said there were 219 illegal aliens arrested, and then you mentioned 253 people charged with crimes. Are those people who are here legally? I'm not sure what.
Sure.
My number is.
So the 253 is a separate group of individuals who are here lawfully, who've also been arrested for crimes that the state's 19 drug task force offices have been working on in the past several months to conduct a major enforcement operation.
Okay, and I appreciate that. That helps clarify, because my question was for the people arrested, and I know the numbers are 219. How many are actually accused of violent felonies? How many nonviolent felonies? How many misdemeanors? And how many citations? Can we break that down?
Specifically, I don't have that. If you'd like to formally request those numbers,
How long
I'll be able to give that. I could reach out to our public affairs office, and we should be able to provide you those numbers.
If it's possible to get those today.
For sure.
I think that the majority of the individuals who are being removed are not being charged with violent criminal offenses. Some clarity. So prior to January 20th, the previous administration's policy was that enforcement and removal operations of ICE could only remove those persons convicted of aggravated felonies. And so if a state or local sheriff or other law enforcement partner had someone in their custody charged with any offense and sought to make sure that ICE was aware of their presence in their facility, unless that person was convicted for an aggravated felony, they were not removable. So what's changed is there's no restriction anymore that they must first check the box of being convicted of an aggravated felony. A further nuance is that if a state or local official for the last 4 years sought to have someone removed from their community who was here unlawfully, not only did they have to satisfy the requirement that the person that they were seeking removal be a person who was convicted of an aggravated felony, they also had to have the conviction documents certified from the courts in hand within 6 hours of the request. Our assessment is that this protocol essentially shut down removal operations at least in the state of Arkansas, and I can't speak for the rest of the country. And so part of what we're seeing here in these 219 arrests since February 5th are persons who would have been removable today who could not have been removed under the previous administration's policy. And so the fact that those records have been created related to their presence in the United States unlawfully, and they've come into contact with law enforcement for a number of reasons. It could be for DWI, domestic battery. It could be a traffic offense. If they, witness to correct. I mean, that I don't know if the people in this 219 include that fact pattern, Dale. But I can tell you as a general matter, what's going on is that people who have been charged with offenses, who previously would have been asked to be removed, the current policy is such that ERO, or the Enforcement Removal Operations component of ICE, now can go ahead and initiate the removal proceedings. And so the drug task forces have been working with their state and local partners to go back to previous removal requests that were denied and allow that to take place. Another layer or nuance of this is that right now the focus is on removing those types of persons that I've just described. And that's the totality of the focus of the operation. However, when law enforcement arrives to anyone's location, which is the last known address or information that the state and local authorities had for that person, if an incidental encounter occurs with other people with that person, then enforcement removal operations will remove that person as well if they are here unlawfully. And so there can be some incidental or collateral consequence to persons who've been charged with criminal offenses who are here unlawfully the last several years, who are residing with or taking up with other people who are also here unlawfully. So that's not the goal, but enforcement removal operations are not going to be prohibited from when they make contact, when they attempt to make contact with the person they're seeking, anyone that's with them, they're not going to be prohibited from asking who those people are, or to also verify their status. And so in those instances, part of this 219 will include some people who had no previous criminal charges, but who were with people who had been.
Are any of these people who have applied for legal residency but have not received that designation yet? And so, how many?
So people that have applied or pending application, if they are taken into custody, those cases are being made on a case-by-case basis, and we do send those cases up to the actual director of ICE to determine if we are going to take those folks into custody. If we do take them into custody, it does not affect their application. They will be heard. They will go through due process in front of an immigration judge, and oftentimes a process that could take years could be adjudicated within weeks if they are in front of an immigration judge.
Yes, sir.
Is there a county-by-county breakdown of these two different types of arrests? Like, I live in White County, cover White County, and I was told 17. Is there some way we can get, like, how many different people were arrested in the different counties?
Again, I don't have the specific details for that. If you do want to make, an official request, I can forward that up to the Public Affairs Office.
Okay. Do I have any other questions? Yes.
Some people who witnessed it said people were just being pulled over because of how they looked. Can you, say that wasn't happening or that was happening?
I can clarify that incident. There was a routine traffic stop for a violation, and he refused to stop for law enforcement. He fled and then resisted arrest. So there is no stop. It was a traffic violation.
Where are these individuals being held in local jails, or are they being sent elsewhere to the detention center? And what are the plans for, getting them out of the country, especially given the fact they come from so many different countries as well? What is that going to look like?
For sure. Can I speak from here? Okay, cool. So we do have detention facilities. The majority of the nation's detention, I think close to 30%, are held in central Louisiana. In there, they do have access, obviously, to law, and they also go through the due process of seeing an immigration judge, either being removed or given some benefit to where they would be released from there. Oftentimes, they are offered a bond If they are a non-criminal that goes into detention, they may be offered a bond, released on a bond.
So is this a fairly quick process right now, or is it being streamlined? Do you have any ideas sort of for someone who might have been detained?
No, nothing is being streamlined at this time. The due process is the due process. Currently in our detention facilities, the opportunity to see the immigration judge in your initial appearance is about 3 to 4 weeks out.
And we've heard of some of the places like churches or kind of community centers being targets for trying to identify people who are in the country illegally. Are those included in some of?
They were not. We do not target churches.
Can you step up to the microphone?
Sure. Absolutely. Yes, we're targeting criminal individuals. At this point, we are not targeting churches or schools or any situation like that. So if we are doing a vehicle stop, or local or state police are doing a vehicle stop, and they do happen to pull into a church parking lot because that's safe for them to pull over, then that's where we may affect the arrest. But we are not targeting churches or schools in situations
so
like that.
anyone who was not arrested with a criminal past that may have been here illegally, which obviously is a violation of the law, they were just kind of identified by chance of being with someone who had.
Correct. Those are collaterals. Currently, we do not recognize catch and release. So if there are collaterals, when we are making a targeted enforcement arrest, those individuals would be considered collaterals. If there are extenuating circumstances with those individuals, be it child care issues, medical issues, like I had said previously, those determinations are being made at the highest levels of ICE. Oh, sure. Yep. So currently in the state of Arkansas, we do house individuals. It was Sebastian County, but Sebastian County just had a fire in one of their pods, so we don't hold individuals there right now. And then Washington County. So a lot of times, if if arrest is made up in Northwest Arkansas, they may spend a day in Washington County, and then they come down to Little Rock, where transportation comes up from Louisiana to Little Rock to pick up the bodies from the state, and then head back down to Little Rock in the detention facilities.
Are they immediately deported, supplies? What's that process?
No, there's a due process. Of course, they do have the opportunity to state their case. If they were previously removed from the United States by an immigration judge, if they had previously gone through the due process, situations like that, then they will be removed once a travel document and once they meet with their consulate and once those steps are taken. If they did not have the opportunity to meet with an immigration judge or have their hearing heard in front of an immigration judge, they do have those procedures to go in front of an immigration judge.